Ooh. Right, okay, so we want to introduce ourselves, Project X podcast, Tommy and myself, Matthew. And today we're going to discuss a little bit about each other, aren't we?
So you're going to find out a little bit more about us, a bit about our life and what goes on in there.
Yeah, just to get to know us, because, you know, I feel like a lot of people on Instagram, you don't really show who you are personality-wise. This is a good way to show, you know, who we are, help where we can, and, you know, give a bit more of our life story.
Bit more raw, bit more...
Yeah, a bit more real.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a few questions to start. Answer them in the most detail you possibly can for the audience. Okay, so intro. That's the book into it.
Part one.
Yeah, part one. Okay, so tell me a little bit more about your journey when you started out when you were younger.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to kind of like school. So I think for me, I got into like fitness, looking after myself back in like high school time. Okay, and it all kind of stemmed down to being a bit overweight, a little bit chubby. Probably could say I'm now still, but not as much. And ultimately, I felt very like out of place at school. Like I didn't really know where I wanted to go. Always looking at other people, other lads. Like I wanted to look like them, and not really feeling good enough. So I naturally kind of drifted in towards like fitness, wanting to kind of better myself and things like that. And then from school, I went to college. Didn't have a clue what I wanted to do. Didn't have an idea what I wanted to do with my kind of life. All I knew is that I liked fitness, training, looking after myself. So studied sport at college. That was pretty much it.
Nice.
What about you?
So school was kind of opposite for me in terms of fat. I was very skinny. So in school, I got absolutely rinsed for being skinny, pale. I had really blonde hair. And it wasn't enjoyable. And my parents were getting divorced at the time. All that was happening, so that was very, very shit as well, because it was not nice. I hated school. When people say school's the best time of your life, it's really not. So I feel like most people agree school's shit, unless you're like the popular person. School's fucking shit.
Believe it or not, we weren't the popular kids at school.
Yeah. So yeah, school wasn't enjoyable, and I just remember not wanting to be there. Somehow managed to get into a grammar school after going to a sixth form. So I went to grammar school for all boys, which again wasn't that enjoyable because there was no girls. So that limits, you know, opposite sex chatting.
Grammar school like a posh school? Is that like a paid one?
No, you don't pay for it, but it's like it's a poshish one that you don't pay for, basically. So it was an all-boys school, never just experienced like a life with just men, basically, guys. So that wasn't that fun. Didn't enjoy that either. Was going to go and do law in university because I just assumed that was what you meant to do, get a job, you know. Basically went to university for 6 months and was just looking at the whiteboard and thinking, what am I doing here? This is not for me. Because basically if you missed a lecture, you could just literally see it on PowerPoint afterwards. So I was like, I'm going to just fuck it off. So I ended up getting a job while being in uni as an estate agent. Did that for a bit because I just like sales and wanted to make money. That's always like somehow wanted to do, make money. But I was still training at the time, started training a little bit more and more. And then did a estate agency for a couple of years, moved to London with it. Did a estate agency in London. And then lockdown hit. And then when lockdown hit, I started my own gym equipment business. But I was always still getting in shape, still enjoying fitness at the time. So I had that business for 3 years during lockdown. It was very successful. And then obviously when lockdown ended, no one wanted gym equipment at home. I then obviously had my, been to college in the previous years to do, you know, sports, gain some knowledge from that, sports nutrition, and then started coaching just based off, you know, simple fact that people were asking me questions.
Full
I was in
story.
shape. Yeah, I know.
So just going back to uni, did you finish uni?
No, so I did 6 months in uni.
6 months.
I just fucked it off. I was just like, I'm not doing this anymore.
I did the same.
I'm still paying the uni fees off as well.
I'm the same. Like 20 odd grand's worth of debt. So I went to uni didn't have a clue what I wanted to do. And I did sports science to become like a PE teacher. So I actually did first year, pretty easy, mess about, piss about with your mates and stuff like that. Second year came around, you got to start doing some work. I went, right, this ain't for me. So I dropped after 2 years. You know what? And I was so close to going into the Royal Marines. Like straight from uni, honestly, I was so close to going in. I think I had my like induction meeting booked in, but I never went. I never actually went through with it. And I did the same as you. Went and got a job. Went and like worked in a factory. And again, I was quite driven by not money, but like being successful and actually wanting to kind of have nice things and have that freedom. So I was actually working 3 jobs at one time. I was doing takeaway delivery the weekend for an Indian, which I got sacked from eating all the food. And then I was working in a gym, unpaid, like an apprenticeship. And then I was working in that factory. So I was working like 3 jobs at the age of like 19. I think I burnt myself out.
Wow.
Yeah. But then when I left uni, when I dropped out, I actually signed a professional contract with rugby.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So that was it. I thought, right, that's it. I'm going to be a rugby player. So did that, played for loads of different teams up and down the country. I thought, you know what, this is good. This is where I'm going to make my money. This is where I'm going to have a good life. And again, that got to a point where started to become unenjoyable. So that was something that never actually came through, and that's what led me into kind of like fitness and training and actually coaching people. So I opened my gym, and I got people in there that was doing really well, really successful, and then gradually the natural progression for a personal trainer is to probably go more online if you're looking for more freedom and stuff like that. So that's kind of leading where we're up to today.
How many jobs did you have before you started coaching?
How many jobs have I had in total? So what's it, KFC?
Nice.
Again, got sacked from there, got caught eating the popcorn chicken when I was on shift. Gym, worked in a factory, takeaway delivery, a couple of other little jobs as well. So I always worked. I always kind of enjoyed working as well. I think, do you agree that?
Yeah, I think it gets installed in you, but normally from parents, and I think it's like they kind of show you that you should work to make money. So you want to kind of hustle to make your money. You want to actually have money, like you said, nice things. No way to do that really is to work, in essence, especially when you're younger. It's how you make money.
I know.
If you're not gifted with very rich parents that are going to give you everything, then how you work is, everything.
Oh, you're in your till, innit?
Yeah. The worst. I did only job when you talked about eating food then, so I did a job in Holland Barrett for a day, and I remember this because like I just got sacked that day. But basically, I didn't know you couldn't eat the products in the back, so I went into the back and was eating the protein shakes and stuff. And I went on a course with them, and then 2 days later after the course, I went back into work, and they were like, "You done?" I was like, "Oh, why? I've just done the course that you want me to do." We've seen on camera that you've been eating the food in the back. I had about 4 protein shakes and a couple of protein bars, and
probably had about 400 quid worth of something.
Yeah. I was gone. So literally the quickest job. Mum was like, "How's work?" I was like, Okay, so if we fast forward, X amount of years, so you finish the gym, start your coaching business. What's happened from that?
Okay, so one of the reasons I actually came away from having the gym is because it was very time consuming and it was very like long demanding hours. Now I've got a 2-year-old girl. Okay, so when I'm a little girl, everything in my life kind of changed. Like it's mad. I know when people say like change your life having kids, I was that person before we had a kid thinking, what are you talking about? It's just a little kid. Just tell them what to do and it's easier. It really does change your life. And for me, all I wanted was time and freedom to be able to spend some time with my daughter because I really don't want to miss out on them crucial years. So I kind of came away from like a physical in the gym job to online. And what that's allowed me to do is not only scale, not only kind of work with people all over the world, but it's allowed me to kind of have that control and have that freedom over my time and my life. And I think we're both pretty similar. Like we've obviously not got a good track record with working for someone else, sacked from Holland and Barrett, sacked from whatever jobs I've done. So we both agree that actually working for ourselves is one of the things that we enjoy doing. Even though it's got its ups and downs, it can be very stressful, very rewarding, but swings and roundabouts.
I think this is for anyone as well. If you're not happy in a job or career, there's a reason for that. You're not meant to do it. And I think a lot of people just think that 9 to 5 is what they have to do for the rest of their life. And like, I've been sacked from probably around 22 jobs, not particularly proud of that, but I just wanted to say that like I always knew I wanted to do something, but I never knew what. And then went to start my own business, and I had my first gym equipment business, and I loved the whole customer service, making sure everyone's happy, the sales coming in. That was like the best thing I ever did, and that's when I knew I needed my own business. So obviously when you mention like online, where it's given us the freedom, but it's like we actually enjoy it, and that's the most. I know when people say you need to enjoy your job, you actually generally do, because to do this for the rest of your life, it's hard, isn't it? There's many ups and downs from having a business, and many highs with it, but there's many lows as well. It's stressful, like you said. Some weeks are better than others. Things can go wrong, and that's just part of business. But if you enjoy it, it's not as bad then. Whereas if it's for someone else or something you hate, everything becomes tedious.
Yeah. So kind of like flipping the script a little bit, what do you enjoy the most about having the freedom? Like, what do you do with your free time? What kind of makes you tick? What do you enjoy? My
free time is traveling. So for me, I love just going other places in the world. I love seeing new cultures. I love meeting new people. Obviously, being in the sun, the UK has very limited of that. So I enjoy being in the sun. But at the same point, it's just waking up and knowing like it's kind of my day. It's on me. What happens? I love that feeling. It sounds really weird, but I love the fact that I don't know how much money I'm going to make every month, consistently. Obviously, it changes as we know, up and down. But I get excited by that. I think when I knew I had a wage, it was very depressing.
Yeah.
So thinking, okay, I'm getting X amount this month, for this is what I have to budget with. Whereas now it's like, if I want more, if I want to travel somewhere, like I'm going to Australia in a couple of months, I don't need to make more money. And that excites me.
What would you say to someone then who's kind of like maybe watching this, listening to this, and stuck in a 9 till 5 and kind of gone through what we've been through and not necessarily enjoying life, the kind of on the hamster wheel? What would you say to that person?
I would say it's not even always what you enjoy is first, what are you good at that you could then transfer into skills to sell. So for me, it's like I have a lot of clients that join me coaching and they want to get into coaching, but that's because they've enjoyed the experience and how it's made them feel mentally. But I always say to them, is this something you could see yourself doing for the rest of your life? And most of them are like, oh, well, I just wanted to, I enjoy fitness. That doesn't necessarily mean you should do it as a job, because that doesn't necessarily mean you're good at it, if that makes sense. It's what you feel you're good at that you enjoy enough to be able to do and get good at. Because at the end of the day, if you can sell that well, you can stop doing that and do something else. Does that make sense? So it's like...
It's almost like turning like a passion, like something you enjoy doing into something that can facilitate a lifestyle that you want.
But there's a difference between that and a hobby that you enjoy, because if you enjoy the gym, if you can very much become, I don't enjoy the gym anymore, if you transfer it into a job that you don't like. So it has to be something that you think, okay, what am I good at? Look, so the thing is, like, no one's good at like the same thing. So for example, in school, I was really bad at maths because I didn't understand algebra and stuff, but I can add up quick maths now. And some people are better at English. Everyone's good at certain topics. Like, you're better than me in a lot of things, and hopefully vice versa. So right with you, but that's the point. It's like we're not all going to be the same people. So a lot of people just assume that it's like one way or that's it. So you need to figure out what you're good at, not what your friends are good at, not what your family tell you to do or what they're good at. What you're good at.
I've got an interesting point. Do you believe that you should play to your strengths, or do you believe that you should try and increase all the things that you're not very good at?
I would say firstly play to your strengths, because that's what's going to make you get to where you want to go quicker. But then you need to look at your weaknesses. And when you've got some money, it's like me and you now, for example, with video editing. You're better than me, but my hours, I spend so much hours on that shit. Now we've outsourced because we can justify paying for it, which has saved time. So not necessarily always work on your weaknesses, but I do agree that when you've got weaknesses, you need to still know what you're doing, because there's nothing worse than having a business where you don't know certain areas and other people do, because there's no way you can scale it or run it yourself. So I agree. But
I think on that one, like, I'm one of them, me, where sometimes I can be a bit of a control freak, where I want to do everything and I want to make sure it's the best. And sometimes I'll hold my hands up. If I do it, I think it's the best. When in reality, like, when I take a step back and like drop that initial chimp in my brain, I can understand that no, it's not. And sometimes it is better to kind of not just outsource, but ask someone who's ahead of me, ask someone who knows something more than me. And I think that's transferable to actually coaching. So I think, myself and you, we kind of know what we're doing when it comes to fitness, diet, health, nutrition, yet we still ask someone for help. We still seek the opinion of someone who knows more than us, or even on the same level of us, and just can give us a different perspective. And I think, especially with lads as well, sometimes it's very hard to take criticism or constructive criticism from another bloke, because we've got this ego normally that's kind of, it's a bit of a defense mechanism. And I've been there myself when I was a young lad. If someone tried to tell me, like, try doing this, I'd be like, no, fuck off. Like, what are you on about? Like, I'm not taking advice from you. And I think as you mature and as you start getting older, you start realizing that, you know what, I will take on every bit of advice I ever get from anyone, whether it be a coach, a mentor, a family member, and then I'll process it and then disregard the bullshit that's not necessary for me. But then anything that's good, soak it up. And I think that's one of the key points to actually self-development and actually improving yourself as a person.
For someone who wants to learn, because obviously a lot of people, especially a lot of guys, are always like, I know how to train in the gym. But then when they actually look at how they train, they don't. And I think a lot of people are afraid of asking advice when all you need to do is, there's absolutely nothing wrong, or there's no weakness in asking someone for help or advice to get you one step further.
Of course.
We've both got coaches, we've both got business mentors, because we both want to learn more. And we're learning from people that have done more than us. And I think that's what some people need to take into account, that advice, you should take it on. Like you said, if it doesn't work for your life, don't take it on. But if it's points at where they've done something similar to you, like, we both into fitness, but we both travel a lot, or you've got, got a family. So people should take advice from your knowledge of family life as well.
Yeah, no, I get that.
And I feel like a lot of people still take that as like, they're like, oh, thanks, mate, but they don't actually take it on. And then you speak to them in a year's time, they're still in the exact same position because they've not changed anything.
And I think that's probably down to two things. That's either down to like ignorance, where they don't actually recognize that they can gain something valuable from a person or an experience, or number two is, like I said, it's the ego, it's stopping them from doing that. And I think as soon as you kind of overcome one of them two things, you will start to progress.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Okay. Right. So,
what type of girls you?
I was just going to ask you that question. Oh, you know what? I'm in a lot of trouble. No. Obviously,
just match what your girlfriend is. That's the only way you do it.
Right, obviously, someone that is into fitness, into looking after themselves. But you know what the most attractive characteristic is for me? Personality, and it's work ethic. Like, it's work ethic. Like, I think that's so attractive in a person. Not just like attractive, like I fancy someone, but even when I see a hard, like yourself, like I'm not attracted to you, but
Oh, go on.
but I do, but I do think it's admirable. You know, when I see someone who works hard and got that work ethic and the relentless, and that's to me something that appeals to me. So obviously, with a woman, a partner, you know, whoever you're with, that's something that I would look for. So what about you? Tits or ass?
Probably arse, you know, 'cause you have to work for it. I feel like tits you have to buy.
Yeah.
No, you don't have to buy them. Sorry, that's but like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
it's a lot.
I know what
It's
you
a lot harder to grow an arse than it is just. But anyway, the real topic for me, what I found attractive in the women is firstly work ethic. So I want to be able to sit at a table and have a proper conversation that isn't about fucking, where should we go on holiday, or you know, what do you do today? I just got my hair done. It needs to be more than that. I want to be able to think, depth. I want to, like, for the rest of my life have these good conversations. But, oh, babe, I need your help with this, or how was your day? And we can work together on it rather than, and she offers me advice rather than me just giving advice and giving, and then in return it's like, oh, I got my hair done today. It's like, okay, you know, I want more. So I think, so that's what I've kind of learned what I want in that. Obviously, initial attraction's great, but I've learned there's so much more to that, because that's a very initial surface level, and you're not going to be like, you know, if you're going to live with them for the rest of your life, you need to be attracted to more than how they look.
It's got to be more than just like a girlfriend or a partner. It's got to be like a best mate. You've got to literally be able to open up and tell that person absolutely anything, be vulnerable behind closed doors with them. And it's hard to do that, because sometimes when it's in them early stages, you don't want to put too much out there straight at once for fear of getting, you know, fucking hurt, upset, or whatever it may be. But no, definitely work ethic and life partner. That's what you want.
Yeah, but that's hard at this age to know what a life partner is. Because at the same point, obviously, I know you've got a girlfriend now, so have I, but at the same point, you don't necessarily know if that's your life partner. I feel like as we get older, and I think personally, as I progress the way I want to progress, and I'm settled where I'm settled.
Yeah.
Because the UK is not where I'm going to live the rest of my life. I know it's not. I'm constantly trying to escape here, so I know it's not where I'm going to live. But when I'm constantly settled, my business is where it's taking it, and you know, I've got where I've got to go. I've got where I want to go. I think then I will find the opportunity then to potentially settle, whether that's with my current girlfriend or someone else. I know it sounds deep, but it's what it is. You know, I don't care. I'm not bothered. It's true though, isn't it? Like, you know, if I'm somewhere else and she doesn't want to come, that means we're not life partners, in my opinion.
No, yeah, true. So, bit of an insight into.
I'm gonna delete that last bit.
Bit of an insight into
who we are.
Overview of Matt and Tommy's kind of life and kind of where we're up to and how we've got here. So, yeah, we hope you enjoyed it. More stuff coming like this. So, stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Project
X. Project X podcast.
Yeah, I like that. It's nice.
We have to stick with it now.
Yeah,
it's the first one we said it. Yeah, so.